graduate level exam and also for CLAT examinations. So do visit AKS IAS Academy and also the website of AKS IAS Academy. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Thumala and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you to crack mains as well as prelims 2021, because throughout my session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases which I would be focusing from the daily news analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, you will certainly get into the mode of identifying the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which are very useful for the prelims examinations. And not only that, while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, that is for the mains examinations, your answers would be precise and concise. And once your answers are precise and concise, you will certainly score higher marks in the mains examination. So therefore, my session, that is at AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis, will certainly help you all to score higher marks in the mains 2020 and also for the prelims and mains 2021. And this session is in regards to the DNA, that is Daily News Analysis of today's, that is of 22nd October 2020. And before I get into the daily news analysis, I would say a very good morning to all who are in the live and also in the live chat. A warm welcome to you all. Gauru Naidu, Harish, Tejasri, Sri Kumar, Kaja Fakhruddin, Mahi Reddy, D Suvarna, all of you a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And before we get into the DNA of the Hindu newspaper, we will look at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day is: the happiest people don't have the best of everything, but the happiest people just make the best of everything. So what is important is be happy, and the one who are happy, they don't have the best of everything, but they just make the best of everything. So this is the secret of life, that while you are happy, you will certainly be successful. You will attain the path what you are actually dreaming. So the success mantra is be happy. The one who don't have best of everything, but they just make the best of everything, is the happier people, and the happiest people will certainly have success in their life. And Ravi Verma has joined, Vittal Murthy has also joined. A warm welcome to both of you to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And now we'll focus the news of the Hindu newspaper, Daily News Analysis. And here it talks about the ICMR gives permission for low-cost COVID-19 testing devices. Here what is important is that a testing device which is called as the COVID-19 diagnostic method, and this COVID-19 diagnostic method is given permission, or it is authorized by the ICMR, that is, or approved by ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, and wherein it was developed by the researchers, of Indian Institute of Technology at Kharagpur. So in coordination or in regards to the researchers who have been developed this, where the researchers at the IIT Kharagpur, and that machine or else the diagnostic method to go ahead with testing the SARS-CoV-2 infection, which is of a low cost portable unit. This has been approved by the ICMR. So who has the authority to approve in regards to the testing kits or the unit? It is the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, has approved it, and it has the authority to approve any kind of testing devices in India is Indian Council of Medical Research. and it is developed by IIT Kharagpur. And the diagnostic method kit or unit which has been developed by IIT is having an accuracy level which is slightly lower than the already existing one, that is RT-PCR, reverse transcriptionist polymerase chain reaction method. So you have the existing method in regards to the testing of the SARS-CoV-2 infected person, that is RT-PCR method, and now the new diagnostic method which has been developed by the IIT researchers of IIT Kharagpur is called as CoviRAP method. So already existing one is the RT-PCR method, that is reverse transcriptionist polymerase chain reaction method, and the new one is CoviRAP method. This is slightly the accuracy level compared to the RT-PCR which is already now in action in regards to testing these SARS-CoV-2 infected persons or individuals. It is slightly lower than, and it has 94% of sensitivity and 98% of specificity compared to RT-PCR. So here there is a slight comparison in regards to the already existing diagnostic method, that is RT-PCR, with the new diagnostic method for COVID-19 which is CoviRAP. So do understand the two methods, or the already existing method and the new method. The already existing method is RT-PCR, and the new one which has been developed by IIT Kharagpur researchers is CoviRAP, and it is approved by ICMR. And this definitely the infection will be detected at the early stages by the CoviRAP. The infection of the individual will be detected at the early stages, and thereby while we can detect the person who is infected, also we can make sure that those individuals can be isolated. That means keeping them away from moving with the people, and then while we are isolating the individual who has been tested or detected by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, then we can arrest. That means we can control the spread of virus. We can control the spread of virus once the individual is detected by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Thereby the person can be isolated, kept isolated away from moving in the people or in the society, and by making the person or the individuals isolating, we can control the spread of infection, especially infection in the community via asymptomatic patients, because a person who is not being tested but he carries the SARS-CoV-2 virus, if he or she carries the SARS-CoV-2 virus, then that person is called asymptomatic. That means the virus is present in the body, but the individual is not showing any signs of symptoms. For example, like no cough, no sneezes, no loss of smell, taste, but the person can be asymptomatic patient. So here in this case, as the new diagnostic method CoviRAP is a low cost one, we can make sure that the testing can take place at a higher number, so that initially we can detect the person, we can isolate the person, we can detect the person, isolate the person, and control the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This is the main important thing, wherein at this situation when the COVID-19 or the SARS-CoV-2 virus infection are slightly decreasing, this new diagnostic method, that is CoviRAP method, will certainly be a game changer, at this juncture. And the testing process with the CoviRAP method just takes 1 hour, and this, as I said, this is a game changer at this time, wherein the time taken for the testing process through the CoviRAP method is just 1 hour. So it is very important that the low cost COVID-19 testing device has come up, and it is a game changer at this time. Okay. So here when we are talking about COVIRAP method, sensitivity and the specificity, here we will get to know that how the COVIRAP method, the method what is being used for detecting the virus, the sensitivity is 94% and specificity, that is the kind of impact or the kind of quality we are talking about, that is accuracy level. When we are talking about the quality or accuracy level, the sensitivity, that means how it will be infected, the infected person, how they will be detected in regards to having the accuracy is 94%, but the specificity or in comparison with the RT-PCR is higher. So this is in regards to the accuracy and the quality. And Venkat Reddy has joined. A warm welcome to you, Venkat Reddy, to AKSIS Academy. And when we look at the cost of the machine, that is RT-PCR machine, it costs 25 lakhs. But when we consider that with the new one, that is the COVIRAP machine, it costs only 5,000 rupees. And the test kit for the COVIRAP cost rupees 500. So this is certainly a game changer one, wherein the time taken is just 1 hour, and at the same time the cost of the machine compared to the RT-PCR is certainly very low. That is 3 times it is low compared to RT-PCR. RT-PCR is 25 lakhs, but wherein 30 times it is 25 lakhs, and then here it is only 5,000. Definitely this will be a game changer one. G. Srinu has also joined. Warm welcome to you. And this portable unit of COVIRAP machine, which can be placed anywhere, even in normal open place or even in the field, which do not require any air conditioned laboratories. That means it is not that it has to be placed in a air conditioned lab, but it can be placed anywhere. And the operation can also be taken up by the rural youth who have minimal training. So it's all a game changer one. And the COVIRAP machine is employed with a technology or a method called as isothermal nucleic acid amplification method. So this is a method which is part of the COVIRAP machine known as isothermal nucleic acid amplification method. And this isothermal nucleic acid amplification also is very closely similar to the one which is used in the RT-PCR test method, which also have the advantage and the disadvantages. And now we will look at just what is this COVIRAP machine. It is this one. It is a box, here you can see it, and which comes with a testing kit, and this takes the samples, the RNA samples, because SARS-CoV-2 virus has only one, that is RNA, no DNA. There is absence of DNA in the SARS-CoV-2. So RNA samples are extracted by the nasal swabs, and then they are put, the tubes, they are put it in the tubes, and these tubes are put in the machine, and then once they are mixed properly, it is placed in the solution. It is placed in the solution after heating, and once it is placed in the solution, then the colored lines, the strip, you have a paper strip here, and the paper strip is mixed in the, or it is dipped in the solution. Once the paper strip is dipped in the solution, you have few indicators, and that indicators the colored line, the color, various colored line shows the presence or absence, of the virus. And this is almost same like a pregnancy kit which is used, that you have a strip, and then depending upon the color you can recognize whether there is presence or absence of the virus. And as we said, it is the RT-PCR machine is 25 lakhs, but the one which is being developed by IIT researchers is 5,000 rupees, and the test kit cost only 500. But when you look at the RT-PCR, it needs to be operated by molecular biologist. But in regards to the COVID machine, it can be by the rural youth also. This is the main difference. Why I am saying this is, you can use it as a short notes for your mains examination, like various methods or testing kits used, RT-PCR and then COVID machine. And this can be used with a minimal training even by the rural youth. That is the main importance, that how the COVID machine would be a game changer in regards to the cost and also the operation. Jadev has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Jadev. And once this sample taken up by, that is by the swab samples, once it is taken, it is processed in the machine, and after that it is mixed with the solutions. That is, you have a paper strips, and these paper strips, when it is mixed with the solution, it shows different colors, and this different colors depicts or it projects that whether it is, there is a presence or absence of the virus. As I said, it is similar to the pregnancy strips. And a mobile app is also developed so that the analysis of the strips takes place, and there is very minimal human error which takes into consideration the COVID method. And there were others also. There were others, that is, other laboratories also have come up with the various methods, including the CSIR, that is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and also the Department of Science and Technology. So CSIR and also DST have also designed various devices for the testing of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, but they have not been cleared by ICMR, and they are not still in the commercial manufacturing in it. So RT-PCR, and now the next one is COVID. So this is the importance of the new COVID-19 diagnostic method, that is COVID method. And then before I follow to the next slide, Chinu has also joined. A warm welcome to you to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And there is another news which talks about the biggest health risk in India. The biggest health risk in India is air pollution. As we all tend to neglect the air pollution, but as per the report, that is the report of State of Global Air 2020, report of State of Global Air 2020, which is by the US based Health Effects Institute, has made it very clear that air pollution will now be the biggest health risk in India, because in the rural and also suburbans and the urban area also, different kinds of air pollutions are certainly not really or seriously taken by the Indians. We do not really overcome the air pollution, neither we really try to look at it that it is an health risk in India. But certainly the air pollution in rural India, suburban India and the urban India is certainly a health risk in India. That is what the State of Global Air 2020, which is of US based Health Effects Institute, has come up with the report, and it says that a long term exposure, that means for a long period of time, if you are exposed to the outdoor and household, that is outdoor and indoor air pollution, then there is always a chance that it would lead to even cause of death. And there are over 1.67 million annual deaths because of the air pollution, which could be in the form of, the deaths would be in the form of strokes, heart attack, diabetes, lung cancer, chronic lung cancer and neonatal diseases. So the biggest health risk in India because of the air pollution, wherein the death cases can take place, is because of the stroke, heart attack, diabetes, lung cancer and lung chronic diseases and neonatal diseases. And this is very crucial information, wherein you can use it as a short notes for your mains answers. And this report also makes it or emphasizes that air pollution is now the largest risk factor. Air pollution is the largest risk factor for death among all the health risk. Please do look at among all the health risk, because in India we really do not focus on air pollution, that it might impact the health or it might cause the death of individuals in India. But as per the report, air pollution is now the largest risk factor for death among all other health risks. And definitely the outdoor and indoor, that is household PM, that is particulate matter pollution, is the contribution to the deaths of 1,16,000 Indian infants. Infants, we are talking about infants here. That is in regards to the neonatal. Also, if you look at neonatal diseases, that is infants in their first month of life, which has been taken the report in the year 2019. What is very clear here is that the impact of air pollution on the infants who are born just first month of their life. Also, if you look at the data, as per the report, 1,16,000 Indian infants in their first month of their life, they are affected, or the deaths are being deaths are caused because of the outdoor and household particulate matter. So this is particulate matter, which is the keyword here. Particulate matter in regards to the air pollution. We know that we have been observing this because of the various cities which are the air quality index. If we are talking about in India, Delhi is the one which is very worst, and then you have also UP and followed by various other states across India. So the air quality, when we are talking about, we discuss or we look at the particulate matter, and that is what this particulate matter pollution is responsible, and it contributes to the deaths of the infants. This is very, very critical information. I would say this news is very important for mains examination in regards to the air quality index. Air quality index, when we are talking about the air pollution, how it affects the deaths in India, and it is the biggest health risk in India. As per the report, the air pollution is the largest risk factor for death among all the health risks which are existing in India. And then before I move to the next slide, Sai Maunika, Ravi Teja, Surya, Azmat, all of you, a warm welcome to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And the report also says that more than half of these deaths were associated with the air pollution quality index. When we are talking about this, again, particulate matter, which is of 2.5, and this is very important, that how it affects the lungs and it causes for the deaths, and others, half of it is related to the particulate matter 2.5 pollution, and the rest of the deaths cases, as per the report, is linked to the usage of solid fuels such as charcoal, wood and animal dung, which is used in the rural areas, which is used in the rural India or rural areas for cooking process. So look at it, how the women in the house, when she cooks, and the cooking is done by or used charcoal, wood and then animal dung for cooking, how it affects the women and also the child, that is the infant. That is why 1,16,000 infants are dying because of the contribution of the indoor and outdoor or household and outdoor particulate matter of 2.5. This again I am reiterating, these are all very important points. You can add it as a short notes in your mains examination. And the deaths in regards to the young or youngest infants are related to the low birth weight. The air pollution, when we are talking about it, it also has impact on the weight, low weight at the birth time and also preterm birth. Definitely these are the one wherein the young infants are being succumbed to pollution and they are being dead. And India faced the highest pollution or highest per capita pollution exposure. This is the key phrase. India face or India is facing or face the highest per capita pollution exposure. India is having the highest one, and that is, or you can take it as 83.2 micrograms cubic meter in the world, and Nepal, the other country which is just below us, that is 83.1 micrograms cubic meter. Niger is 80.1 micrograms cubic meters. Look at it, the kind of air pollution which India or citizens of India are not really focusing about the ill effects or the consequences of the air pollution onto the health or onto the risk of the life itself or the deaths caused because of the air pollution. And it is the need of the hour for India, the government of India, state governments, and also the individuals, also the responsibility and the duty of the individual or Indian citizens, that they should not be part of contribution to the air pollution. As we have seen in the previous classes, stubble burning, I said, that is the fields, once they are, the yielding is done, harvesting is done, the left out is called as stubble, stubble, stubble burning. And this stubble burning, because of this also we have looked at, it causes lot of air pollution in Haryana, Punjab and Uttar Pradesh, and even Delhi is being affected because of the stubble burning. And here when we are talking about, it is air quality index. So certainly this report will help you to have a good information how you can place it, that what are the various side effects onto the death cases, especially the infants in India, and the what is the highest or what is the per capita pollution exposure in India. It is 83.2 micrograms, Nepal 83.1, Niger 80.1. So we will look at what is microgram or cubic centimeter. It is the concentration of air pollutants. So when we are talking about highest per capita, it is nothing but concentration of air pollution, example in the ozone layer, which is they consider as micrograms, that is the number of micrograms, the amount of micrograms in the air when it is concentration, or it is concentration of air pollution, that is the amount of air pollutants in the ozone layer, that is the microgram. When we are talking of microgram, it is 1 millionth of a gram. When we use this, it is 1 millionth of a gram. So that is the concentration, that is the space what we are talking about. So that is 83.2 micrograms per cubic meter. So that is the amount of calculation which is done in regards to the per capita exposure. You never know, there could be a question in the prelims, any prelims, or at least prelims 2021, that which among the following are incorrect in regards to the micro, they will give this only, microgram cubic meter in regards to the air quality index. So it is the concentration of air pollutants which is given in terms of micrograms, and micrograms is 1 millionth of a gram per cubic meter, that is the space, cubic meter in the air. That is why you take it as microgram per m3, that is cubic meter per cubic meter of air. So this is a critical and crucial information for prelims, especially this about microgram per cubic meter, and the entire report will be useful for the mains 2020. Subbarao has also joined, Surendra Reddy have joined. A warm welcome to both of you to AKS IAS Academy. And there is another news which talks about the poll panel moves High Court against the Andhra Pradesh government. So which is the poll panel? That is the State Election Commission. The State Election Commission of Andhra Pradesh has filed a writ petition in the High Court of Andhra Pradesh or Andhra Pradesh High Court. And what was the reason why the State Election Commission has filed a writ petition? Because it is seeking a direction. It is seeking a direction. That means the State Election Commission wants the High Court to direct. The State Election Commission wants, or it has filed a petition so that the High Court of Andhra Pradesh directs the Principal Secretary of Finance and Panchayat Raj and Rural Development, so that the Principal Secretaries of Finance and Panchayat Raj and Rural Development of Andhra Pradesh government, they would be providing budget and releasing of funds, which is requested by the State Election Commission. Why the State Election Commission is requesting for providing the budget and release of funds by the government of Andhra Pradesh? Because for conducting of elections, that is in regards to the conducting of the local body elections or civic polls when the state election commissions are not being provided by the budget, they are not being released funds which was requested by the State Election Commission of Andhra Pradesh to the government of Andhra Pradesh, specifically to the Principal Secretaries of Finance and Panchayat Raj and Rural Development. Then they have approached or they have filed a petition in the Andhra Pradesh High Court asking or seeking the Andhra Pradesh High Court to direct the government of Andhra Pradesh to provide budget and release of funds to the State Election Commission, so that State Election Commission can conduct the civic body elections. And State Election Commission has also prayed, that is, it is pleading for assistance from the government to conduct the civic polls in Andhra Pradesh. And who is the State Election Commission of Andhra Pradesh? It is N. Ramesh Kumar, and he has filed an affidavit, that is a petition, asking that the High Court, that the government, that is AP government, is trying to take control of the commission. Which commission are we talking about? State Election Commission. Here the State Election Commission has provided an affidavit to the AP High Court saying that AP government is trying to take control of the State Election Commission. But State Election Commission cannot be controlled by the any government, any state government. And here the point made by N. Ramesh Kumar is that the commission and the employees of the state election commissions were being tried to take control by the AP government. So one is in regards to the providing the budgets. He has filed a writ petition so that the budget is provided, release of funds, and then he also said that the government is trying to take control of the commission and its employees, so that they are using different methods, that is the government using different methods, so that the employees are involved or to be in, that they could be involved in some kind of controversies, or there is some kind of attack on the reputation and integrity on the functioning of the State Election Commission. And we know that N. Ramesh Kumar, we have seen just couple of months back, he was removed as the State Election Commission by the Andhra Pradesh government. But N. Ramesh Kumar has approached the High Court, AP High Court, and then he said that the removal of the State Election Commission was incorrect, and the AP High Court also has struck down. AP High Court has also struck down the AP Panchayat Raj Second Amendment Ordinance 2020. So the AP government has come up with an ordinance called as Andhra Pradesh Panchayat Raj Second Amendment Ordinance, wherein this ordinance has removed the State Election Commission N. Ramesh Kumar, but rather N. Ramesh Kumar has approached the High Court earlier, couple of months back, and the High Court has also ordered that the government of Andhra Pradesh should restore or reinstate the State Election Commissioner, that is N. Ramesh Kumar, back as State Election Commissioner of Andhra Pradesh. So certainly there is a rift, there is a kind of misunderstanding. They both are not going parallel. That is, the AP government and the AP State Election Commissioner is not going together. They are not having coordination. They are not having that kind of mutual approach to move further. Thereby this kind of situation has come, and now the State Election Commission of Andhra Pradesh has approached the Andhra Pradesh High Court, filing a petition against the Andhra Pradesh. I hope you all have understood this, because you need to look at from prelims point of view, preliminary examination point of view, the powers, responsibilities and the job of State Election Commission or Election Commission. For prelims, polity point of view. Polity point of view. So this is how you need to again analyze it, the situation, the contemporary, the current issue, what is happening, link it with the prelims perspective, that is in regards to the polity point of view. And Ramesh has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Ramesh, to AKSIS Academy. And you have another news which is in regards to the international, that a Taliban ambush has killed at least 25 Afghan security personnel. I did mention about the US Taliban peace deal in the past. In Doha, a US Taliban peace deal has taken place, and US wanted a peace to be restored back in Afghanistan, so that the Talibans, that is the terrorist organization Talibans, do not attack the Afghan security personnel or the civilians of Afghanistan or the minorities in Afghanistan. I did talk about this, and there was a process which was put forth that US Taliban peace deal would restore peace back in Afghanistan, and in the process US Afghan reconciliation, the US representative, that is US special representatives, has also requested India to be part of the Taliban peace deal, to be part of the US Taliban peace deal, so that India would also try to talk to the Afghan government and also to the Taliban's Afghan government and also to the Taliban, so that there would be Afghanistan reconciliation process or peace process, so that India would be part of Afghanistan reconciliation peace process, and make sure that there is peace restored. There is not much of attacks by Taliban, but we have seen that 25 Afghan security personnel were killed in an ambush, that is attack by, which is actually now most of them say that it is the work of the Talibans. When the peace process talks are going on, this kind of action taken by Talibans onto the Afghan security personnel will obstruct the peace process between US and Taliban, between Taliban and Afghan government, between India trying to be part of the Afghan reconciliation peace process. And here the security forces were attacked on the night of October 2020 at a province called as Takhar province, and in this province the fighting was going on and the ambush attack by Taliban, and thereby 25 Afghan security personnel were killed. And this ambush is despite of, that is in spite of Taliban's have assured to Washington. That is why I said it was a US Taliban peace deal which has taken up in Doha, and there the Taliban have committed to the US that they will reduce the bloodshed, they will reduce the ambush, they will reduce the attack on to the Afghan security personnel or to the civilians or to the minorities in Afghanistan. But it is still the Taliban, rather than assuring that they will reduce the bloodshed, that is attack, we have seen that there is increased violence in Afghanistan, because there could be that the Taliban, by attacking, they are trying to have more of negotiations with the Afghan government. So here the point that you need to focus is Afghan reconciliation peace process for the mains examination, and definitely not only in the Takhar province, but there was an assault by the militants, that is by the Taliban, even in the another province called as Helmand province, wherein in the Helmand province there is attack by the militants, and thereby the families, the people who are living there are fleeing their homes. And not only the assault by the militants, but there was a car bomb which has taken place on the headquarters of Ghor. There is another province called as Ghor province. So Helmand province we have seen, Takhar province, and then Ghor province. So these are all the provinces wherein Taliban, if we look at, frankly speaking, Taliban have almost close to 60% of the Afghan geography, or geography of Afghan is under the control of Taliban. That is why the US Taliban peace deal has been brokered, so that there would be less of the impact of Taliban, that is attacking the Afghan government and then taking over. Or Taliban do have the kind of parallel government in Afghanistan. And the UN Refugee Agency, which is part of the United Nations, or United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, that is United Nations HCR, has said that because of the assault by the Taliban in the Helmand province, there were around 40,000 people who have fled from the Helmand province, and there is very little progress which is being, now we can see, wherein the Afghan government negotiators and the Taliban are wanting to have a peace process between both of them. So if you look at, the attack has taken place in this province, that is in the Takhar province, and this is the Helmand province, wherein the assault by the Taliban trying to have the presence there in Helmand province. And then you have the Ghor. I said the Ghor, here the police headquarters, there was a car bomb. So this is in Ghor, this province. And even in the Herat also, the Taliban have lot of sway, or they have the control. Even on Kandahar, we know that Kandahar was the one which was the province which was used for the hijack of the Indian flight, Kandahar. So you have the Kabul, the capital city of Afghanistan, Kabul. So certainly there is a very close, if you look at Takhar here, Takhar, and then you have Baglan, next south of it Parwan, and then you have the Kabul. So they are very close in regards to having attacks onto the, or coming close to the capital city of the Afghanistan. So this is how you need to focus while you are linking the current affairs or the current news of international relations, which you can focus for the mains point of view also. So I have taken this map so that you will have a better understanding, this map. And if you look at this, you have here Pakistan. and this borders India, the top of it. And you have the Turkmenistan, which borders, and then Uzbekistan, and then you have here the west of it is Iran. So what is very important is that you need to know the neighboring countries of Afghanistan also, which could be again geography map based question for the prelims examination, because Afghanistan is heart of Asia. Heart of Asia, heart, H-E-A-R-T, heart of Asia. So in that regards, you need to focus from prelims as well as mains. Focusing prelims again in regards to the geography map base. There could be a possibility, which among the following are the neighboring countries of Afghanistan. So you have Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and another one, that is you have 3 Central Asian countries, Iran, Pakistan, and then India bordering Afghanistan. Shalini has joined, Ramesh has joined. A warm welcome to both of you to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And now there is another news which will focus, that is in regards to the government to widen manufacturing PLI plan. I hope you can reiterate this PLI plan or PLI scheme, because yesterday also I have discussed this PLI plan yesterday itself when we were talking about the FDI and equity FDI. I was talking about FDIs and equity FDIs have increased into India, increased, and there I was talking about PLI, that is the production linked incentive scheme. This is a scheme. So when you have a scheme which is in regards to the economy point of view, UPSC perspective, which could be again a prospective question, conceptual understanding for the prelims examination, you need to focus this production linked incentive scheme. And the government, now yesterday we were talking about the in regards to the mobile and all that, that is in regards to the manufacturing. Now they wanted to increase not only to the manufacturing, but it wanted to increase or widen the manufacturing plan to various other sectors, that is to the 8 more sectors, not only to manufacturing investments. This will be extended further to, yesterday we were talking about that PLI plan for the manufacturing investments, so mobiles, all that we discussed yesterday, but now the government wanted to extend it to another 8 more sectors. And not only it wanted to extend the PLI scheme, the government is also finalizing a policy, that is a strategic sale of public sector enterprises. So the PLI scheme extending to the 8 more sectors, and the government finalizing the policy for strategic sale of PSCs, so that there would be more of the FDIs and the equity FDIs into India. And what is this PLI scheme? Yesterday also I spoke about, that is in regards to the incentives. The manufacturing units will have, or the workers will have incentives, and these incentives are based on only production. Incentives are based on productions. That is why it is incentive linked production or production linked incentives, and this is an outcome and output oriented scheme. Production, there could be a question that production linked scheme is an dash, and which among the following statement is correct? PLI scheme is an outcome and output oriented scheme, and incentives will be paid only when the manufacturers make the goods. That means you work, you will be paid. If you are not working, you will not be paid. That is the concept. You work, you will be paid. Otherwise, your work will not be, if you are not working, you will not be paid. Okay, Srinu says that depth information. That is what I am giving here. Yes, Srinu, I am talking about that only, which will be very, very useful. So, PLI scheme is an outcome and output oriented scheme. And here the incentives will be paid only when the manufacturers produce the goods or manufacture goods. It is not that you come attend or you are in the organization or the factory, but no manufacturing is taking place, so no incentives. And the scheme also gives cash incentives for 5 to 7 years. Again, this is a keyword. The PLI scheme also gives the cash incentives for 5 to 7 years to all the sunrise, and to the important sectors which are proposed to cover under the PLI scheme. And this sunrise are, you have sunrise, you have sunset. So sunrise are the one which are progressing, sunset are the one non-performing assets, or else which are sinking, which are not performing good, which are in the negative one, and here which are in the positive one. So the one which are doing good, the companies are called as, or the sectors, they are called as sunrise, or other important sectors, that is 8 more sectors which we discussed, will be taken into consideration, or else the PLI scheme will be extended further. And there is lot of confidence and hope in regards to the PLI scheme. Yesterday I was talking about that it was for the mobile phones, and now it is medical devices and also to the pharmaceuticals. So it has been extended from mobile phones to medical devices, and also for the pharmaceuticals. So this is the production linked incentives which is extended or widened. The government has planned not only to the manufacturing unit but also to the other sectors like the medical devices or the pharmaceutical devices. Why? Because definitely there has to be a diversification. That means the extension should be in regards to the supply chain system, and this is very crucial at this time of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, wherein the global supply chain system is in a negative trend, which is in a negative trend. So at this scenario or in this situation, the PLI scheme, which was initiated by the government to have increase or to have more of FDIs and equity FDIs in the manufacturing investments, have been extended further to other 8 more sectors. This is very important, and it is an outcome and output oriented scheme, and the cash incentives are given for 5 to 7 years, and it is diversified in regards to the supply chain system. So these are the keywords which are very crucial for you, so that you will have a solid information which is stored, and you can use it for prelims as well as mains examination. So now we will recapitulate this. So we have looked at the new device or the COVID-19 diagnostic method device we have looked at, and how it is different from RT-PCR. And in regards to the air pollution, we have discussed how India fares and what is the per capita concentration or per capita pollution in India. And the next is Nepal and Nigeria. So this report is again very important or crucial for prelims as well as mains examination in regards to the air quality and how it affects the health or the death cases. And here we have looked at the election commission or state election commission. Again, this you need to focus for polity point of view. Election commissions or state election commissions, all the articles and the powers powers, responsibility of the election commission, state election commissions, and articles involved in the election commission and state election commissions, which will be very useful for the polity point of view. And this we are focused in regards to the international relations, again very keen in regards to the Afghan, how this ambush or the attack by Taliban might affect the Afghanistan reconciliation peace process. This is crucial keyword here. And then this is the PLI plan, which we discussed that it has widened to other 8 sectors. And this again conceptual understanding for the economy point of view for the prelims examination. So I hope this was a very important knowledgeable session that would certainly fetch you from prelims as well as mains of UPSC perspective point of view. So I would say a very big thank you and a good luck to you all. And then do like the video, share the video and subscribe the video. Do visit AKS IAS Academy website, and also make sure that you also subscribe to the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy Advanced Knowledge System. See you again tomorrow at 7:30 AM for the daily news analysis. I reiterate once again, do maintain consistency in regards to your preparation. Do stick to your schedule, and then do take care of your physical health and mental health. Okay, I would say thank you, Gauri Naidu. Certainly you will be benefited by AKS IAS Academy daily news analysis that is taken up by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan Tumala. Thank you very much. See you again tomorrow at 7.